Good morning, Sport Industry Careers class. I'm here with Advertising Sales Executive Robert Novak. Robert, thank you for being here with us to talk to class today.
Very welcome.
So, can you explain to my class how you got your start in sports?
Well, actually, it started back in the 70s. I was living in St. Louis and attended a lot of St. Louis Blues games, Cardinal football games, Cardinal baseball games, and just got very excited about sports and thought that would be a very cool industry. But I wasn't in the sports business in those days, but it stuck with me that sports would be a very cool and exciting career. And it wasn't for a few years later that I actually got into the industry.
Okay, and so how did you get your job into sports? What did you actually do? How did you break through from your prior career into sports?
Well, I was actually taking a class at UCLA, an extension class on advertising and radio sales, and met a lot of people from all over Los Angeles that were in different industries in the sports business. And I was doing another job to make a living, but it had nothing to do with sports. And finally I got an interview at a very large radio station in Los Angeles called KMPC. And they were the radio station for Angels, Rams, and UCLA, and that's where I got my start in sports.
That's pretty cool. So can you give us a background now of what you currently do or what you have done within the sports industry? Because I know you have a vast background in marketing, advertising within the sports world.
Well, back in the day when I started at KMPC, as I said, that we sold Angels, Rams, and UCLA on the radio, but we also did some sports marketing for them, did some very, very interesting and unique opportunities for getting players involved in the broadcast with our disc jockeys and such. I spent 4 years there, and we did everything from getting Vince Ferragamo, who was a quarterback of the Rams, calling in on a cell phone from his Porsche on the way to practice because the client supplied him the cell phone, and there was an opportunity that we put together with the advertising, marketing, endorsement. So that was very, very cool. We did things with the Angels, taking our clients down to the stadium, getting them involved, creating special packages for them. All of this is just not selling radio, not just selling the sponsorship, but thinking out of the box. And that's what you have to do with sports marketing, is thinking out of the box. And we did a multitude of things. I was there for many, many years. And then I left that property. I left KMPC, and I went off to another property, and we were the Lakers and Kings radio station, and we did a lot of marketing with them, again, involving our clients with the broadcast. And you have to think, as I say, out of the box, and what can you do that sets you apart, what makes it different. So that's what I did for many, many years. Then I had a brief stint in the internet for about 8-9 years at the infancy of the internet, and we were also involved in marketing and what could we do to involve people with the internet, and what do you do. And I remember at one point I was working for the Los Angeles Clippers in the front office, and we involved a car manufacturer. For the first time ever, NBA.com was just going to be launched back in 1986, I believe, and the Clippers had the first advertising on the internet, and it was from this car manufacturer. And it's interesting, as we all know now, you go to a website and you click on the buttons, and you got links, and you're driven here or there. You can do everything, on which 20 years ago you couldn't. And so I went to a seminar now down at Disney World, and they had all the marketing executives from all the different teams down there. And David Stern says, okay, let's open up our books. And David Stern was the commissioner of the NBA for many, many years. He says, open up your books. And there was the big three-ring binders. page 312, and there was the Clippers page, and we were the only ones to have advertising, and there was the Jaguar logo, and it was static, and everybody knows what static means now. I mean, it didn't do anything. It just said, you know, buy a Jaguar or Jaguar, whatever. And afterwards, there were breakout sessions, and everybody was asking, okay, tell us about these hot links. What are hot links? And I said, the only thing I know about hot links is you get one at Wrigley Field, and it's a hot dog. I mean, there were no hot links yet. So this is like evolution, and that's what you have to think about when you're getting into any business, especially the sports business, the evolution of what you do, what you deliver, the who, what, where, when, why. And so that's something I did. So I got an internet background. Again, sports was involved. And then I went on to work at ESPN back in I can't even remember. But it was like 15, 16 years ago, and I was working at ESPN in Los Angeles, and we were the Angels radio station right after their World Series, and we were involved, much like my previous experience with selling the Angels for KMPC. We got involved with players and endorsements, and it was a very, very exciting time, and I was there at ESPN till about a year and a half ago when I retired, or I'm semi-retired, and I moved out to Palm Desert, California, which is near Palm Springs, and now I work for CBS local affiliates. I work for CBS, and I'm still selling sports. I'm selling golf, I'm selling the NFL, AFC, I'm selling the SEC, again, still involved in sports.
So as an advertising sales executive, as you are now here at CBS and as you previously were for ESPN for so many years, what does that entail on your day-to-day basis?
Well, again, it's an evolution. Back in the day when I first started, and let's say I was selling a radio sponsorship, and it was on a game, an Angel game, 20 years ago, you'd have to write up an order by hand. That's pen and paper, and you walk it in to somebody called the traffic director, and the traffic director would start placing it in a very antiquated computer program to try to get those commercials loaded in, and then those commercials would be recorded and on tape. I don't know if any of you know what tape looks like, and those radio commercials would be punched up on a cassette, and they would go into the studio, and then when it showed that it was time to play it, somebody would push a button. These days, it's evolved, and I can, from my phone, somebody can email me a commercial on an MP3, I can upload it, and you're done. So these days, I sit in front of a computer after I've made a sale. I just sit at my computer and I place the spots myself, and you hit a button, hit enter, and it's all done.
So you're making the sales that the people hear on TV or that they heard on the radio. You're also helping to write the commercials. Yeah,
I wrote commercials many, many years ago, radio commercials, but to write a TV commercial is the same, except that the TV commercial has pictures. So I can write a script, I'll take it down to my commercial producer, he'll figure the graphics out, do the shot, and then we lay it in, and it's basically the same thing. Most important thing is to understand language, understand how to talk succinctly, quickly, and get your thought out, as I said earlier, who you are, where you are, what you got, all in a short period of time, not using a lot of extra words.
So 30, 60-second commercials,
right.
Quick.
Or 15. Or 15. You'll see on TV many 15s. Sometimes there's 5s, which are called billboards.
Okay, so what would you say are your biggest challenges, whether it's the cold calling or so much competition in the market? What are your biggest challenges on a day-to-day working in this industry?
Well, there's many different challenges. If you're in sales, the most important thing is calling on people. Whether you have ad agencies you call on, direct clients you call on, making the appointment, doing a needs analysis. What do they need? Not just, okay, I have XYZ to sell you. What do you need? How can I increase your business? We have a saying in our business, how I increase people's businesses 30 seconds at a time. How can I bring more people to your door? That's one of the things that you have to think about every day. Anything else?
Yeah, what is your favorite thing about this job?
I like, personally, I love helping somebody produce a commercial. A retailer here, they have a store, they have a couple stores, and we go and we put something together for them, and then they can see an ROI, return on investment, people coming to buy from them because they've seen the ad. We can't sell anything in the ad, we can just direct them to somebody to have them go in.
Okay, so how do you maintain a work-life balance when you would have to attend so many games and growing up with a family or having to work long hours? What did you do to maintain that?
Well, back in the day, it went through different stages. There was a stage when it was just myself and my girlfriend and my fiance, then my wife, and we would go to everything. Go to many Angel games a week. We'd go to every Rams game on Sunday. And then it evolved after we had children that she couldn't go as much. But I would still have to go and entertain clients, because that's very much part of the sports business, is to entertain clients, take them to the game, or entertain prospects. You take them to the games to see what their environment is. So you try to balance that. There was many times that there were things going on with my kids, and I'd be off in Boston with the Lakers, flying around, making sales calls, taking people to games, getting home at 3 o'clock in the morning, getting off the private plane. But you know what? You still have to take the trash out on Wednesday night.
So what do you know now that you wish you might have known when you started within sports?
Well, I wish I knew, and you don't know at the beginning, that whatever it was, it's going to evolve. It's going to change. Nothing stays the same. So what was back in the 70s, and then the 80s, and then the 90s, the technology changes, the atmosphere changes, the rules change, corporations change, and you have to be ready for the change. And you can't just say, well, this is the way it used to be. Because when it's no longer what it used to be, you got to change, or you got to get going.
Really good answer for the class. So what would you like to share with the kids in this class, or what advice would you have for college students who are trying to pursue a degree in sports management and they might not know where they want to go, but what advice do you have for them?
Well, when it comes down to, you've got to lead on a position. And again, that's all changed now. Now you get to go through
Teamwork
online, or there's many others that it's all, you do all this online. Back in the day, you had a resume, you knocked on a door, you got an appointment, you sat in somebody's office. That's over. You're pre-screened now, whether you're using Indeed or Teamwork Online or Career Builder or any of the other things. Be prepared for the interview. Be prepared with what are you going to bring to the position. What's your unique selling proposition? What makes you different from the next candidate who may have the same degree, may be just as versed in the business acumen. One thing you don't do that I can make a suggestion is, don't get in there whatever the property is, whether it's CBS or ESPN or Fox Sports, don't get in there and say, oh, I love it, it's my favorite, I love it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you love whatever property is you're trying to get in there. Nobody cares at all. They're not interested that you care. Because sometimes you go to work for a property, you just don't like the team, or there's something that isn't like your favorite. It's not a matter of that. It's your it's your job to promote that property, to sell it, to put things together, and you don't have to be in love with it. So when you walk in and say, I love it, or you use the word, I believe, you know what? Those are bad words. Those are not good words. Find another word to describe your feelings about the property you want to go to work for and what you bring to the table.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and I hope that all of you guys are able to take some things from Robert Novak here, who gave you some great advice.
Absolutely. And if any of you want to email me and ask me any questions, I'll give you my email address, and you can email me. Some days I'm a little busy, but I'll get back to you eventually. The email address is robert.novak, Novak, at cbslocal2, that's the numeral 2.com. So robert.novak at cbslocal2.com.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.